Hi guys, it's Granny Tana speaking. Welcome to this FS22 Let's Map video. I'll keep on building on my upcoming map Marigold Farm. Yeah, and here we are at the grain mill area, so to say, because here we can see the old grain mill that is a windmill, and here we see the new grain mill that has a small electrical grain mill, I guess, here inside this building, and maybe here is the office, and that's how I imagine this. And this is not a factory, but a small family business. And yeah, this grain mill here is still working, that's my idea, but only for fun. They don't use it anymore for real business. But it's nice to have this old building here. That's my idea about it. And I want to decorate the area. Yeah. And that's what I will do in this video. Here we can see the back side, and to create this building complex I used existing buildings from Elm Creek and combined them so that they look different, and I really love how you can do this. So a building exactly like that doesn't exist in Elm Creek, but all those modular parts are from Elm Creek. And I think this main building is easy to recognize, but yeah, I like to have it in different combinations. So now, yeah, we could start here first. Oh, and I have good news for you. I just started making a mod out of this windmill, and in different kinds of objects. So we will have, I think, 4 different windmills. One is just decorative, the other one is more expensive, but then it produces electricity and you can earn money with it, so a passive income. Then I will put a generator inside this house, and one is working as a production building to produce flour, and one is working as a selling station. And all the same building, but with different purposes. And then I take the same building, and I have it here already. Let's go here. And there will be, I think, 4 as well. So one will be an empty hut like that. The other one will be a hut with wooden furniture. I still have to do this wooden furniture, and without mushrooms. Yeah, it's a tiny place, but big enough for a simple wooden bench bed and a table and chairs and yeah, maybe a little shelf like or so, where we have kind of the off-grid sink and or something like that, and a simple stove where you can heat stuff. So really tiny, primitive, tiny living. Not nice tiny living, but very, very rural. And yeah, but with everything you need for your living. And I'm thinking on maybe making a loft. I will see how high this is, whether a loft is okay. A loft is always a little bit problematic because then you need a ladder and the ladder takes place, and so only I think it's not high enough to have a comfortable loft. So just a simple bed that you can use as a bench to sit on, and chair, table, and a little bit of cooking equipment, something like that. And this will be decorative and as a farmhouse. So if you want to have a tiny farmhouse, I know I already made several tiny farmhouses. Somehow I'm very much into tiny farmhouses, and it will be available as a holiday home as well. So then you pay more money than for the farmhouse or the decorative house, and you get your monthly income, like with the windmill, which will be bigger and you earn more, and yeah. And I think it will be somehow fun, this this windmill pack. So, and now we go for the decoration. Come on, yes, and I think this would be good. I place it there, maybe in front of the house, and the windmill will be decorated in the mod, will be decorated with some things like those flower sacks and so. A little bit similar to what I do now. So now maybe it would be better like so. I will see. But then you can't put two of them. So better like so. And then maybe this shows outward. Like so. So. Okay. And now I make some copies, and I will put one or two of those sacks standing inside. Oh, I have to be more patient. Okay, here we are. So yeah, I think it can be turned a little bit like so, that it's not so perfect. Oh, I want this on the other side, yeah. Maybe like so, and then those are two different sacks. And on the other side they are nearly black, because this should symbolize that this is the not the upper part, the downer part. I know you can say the upper part, but Would you say the downer part? I don't think so. This will be a different word, I think. So, yeah, why not like that? And then a last one. And I'm really looking forward to this mod with the windmill and this. At most, I look forward to making those primitive furniture. This very, very simple wooden furniture. And I won't use a separate texture set for this, but I will use the same textures that I used for building this this windmill, and therefore even when it's furnished it will take rather little slots. I don't know how many slots yet, but it won't be much slots because I take the same texture. The textures are always the most expensive stuff, so to say. Slot-wise. Because they use up more megabytes, and this yeah, the megabytes use the memory of the console and of the PC, but on PC we don't have this slot system. But it's still the same, so when you have a mod with little slots, your old PC is not so it's not so exhausting for your old PC. If you have a new PC, it doesn't matter. So a new PC with a lot of memory and all this and that. So I have a rather old PC. It's already more than 5 years old. I think it's going up to 6 years now. Now I make another copy. But it's still a strong PC because it has a lot of memory. It has 64 RAM, random access memory, and the graphic card is a little bit old-fashioned now, but yeah, it was a very good one. It's a 1080 Ti with 12 GB of memory, as far as I remember. And so back in the day this was a very, very good one. But now we have 4080. But it's still okay. So I can run the like this, yes. I can run the farming sim without any problems with rather high settings, and on top I can do my recordings, and I can even use the Giants editor and Blender and the farming sim. But yeah, then I don't want to record, because sometimes then I have some frame rate drops when I record. Yeah, and so when I say old PC, I rather mean weak PC. And there are millions of new gaming notebooks that are much weaker than my old PC here. And some people tell me it's okay to play on a notebook. And yeah, I think it will be true because they play on a notebook. But I can't imagine to make all what I do on my old PC on a notebook. That looks rather casual, as it should. So I think it's enough of those sacks. Maybe I should bring them together. So this first flour sacks, so I group them. Come on. Oil palette old. Yes, that's it. And then those. And then I can copy it and bring it down to the new grain mill. Come on. So. And I wanted to have a bench, and I would put a bench here to have a look at the little river. So, okay. No, I think it's okay like this. And maybe some potted plants as well. And I think this should go down there because, yeah, this is more decorative now, even if it still works, but it is not used. So therefore, this is still the windmill area. Yeah, it's okay. I take this pallet truck and just put it down here. Where could it be? Maybe sitting there. And then the new pallet, then the new one will be, let's see, the house. We have those secret decorative objects, but there are none in this front. This is okay. So the new palette can come here. Somehow I would love to have some decorative flower boxes, but they would look like the real flower boxes, and therefore you could easily misunderstand them, and therefore I think I will only have those palettes with sacks. So a copy of those. So it takes a while. Maybe if my computer was newer, it would be faster with this. copying stuff. But when it's freshly rebooted, it is faster. But it always takes something like an hour to rearrange all my windows and so when I reboot, and therefore I don't like to do it as often as would be sensible. So, oh no, maybe sensible is the wrong word, because it is not sensible to reboot very often, because it takes me an hour to bring all my my directories in the Explorer, in the File Explorer, and all my text files and my XML files and all this stuff I have open for modding and recording and so. So we have another copy, and now I switch from the, well, first I rather turn it that it looks different, and the new palette, ah yeah, it has decals and such. Now I put the flower sacks from this one, the old one, to the new one, and then I delete the old one, and now we have flower sacks on the old one and on the new one. Yeah, that's how I wanted it. Because sometimes you are lucky and get a new one, and sometimes you are not so lucky and have to use an old one. And maybe I turn them a little bit. Like so. Yeah. I think it's not yet enough decorative stuff, but I don't want to just put stuff, piling stuff around the house only to make it look more full and crowded. Very often it looks terrible, untidy then. So maybe later I find a set of boxes that I put there or so. And yeah, even more later or maybe earlier, I have to decide where I have the areas where we deliver our goods and where we where the pallets spawn. This should be an area that stays free and that you can drive by. I think it's easy to drive by even when we have an area here where the pallets spawn. And this spawning area, the functionality of the production will be only really visible in-game and not in the editor, because it will be loaded when the save game is starting. But maybe I put some warning stripes myself that I can imagine, yeah, how this will look. So yeah, and here will be something like a road, or maybe rather not perfectly straight, we will see. And I think it shouldn't stay like a gravel place where a house is just standing whoosh in the middle. So I have to think about how to to make it that it looks like a real house on a real place somehow. I don't know really yet. And maybe it could even have a little bit of greenery here. Let's see, is it totally flat here? No, here it is not totally flat, but maybe I could flatten it so that it's possible to drive here, but so this greenery area would be very small. Would they have it like that? Or would they just live on their property with all this stony gravel, and when they want to have a meadow they just go here? Because somehow it is not a suburb home with a lawn like usual. It is yeah, a production with living included. I think then there are different rules than when it's residential zone. So this will be residential only, but those will be shops with residential, and here this is production with residential. And then what I was thinking about is I would leave this area empty for you players to use it for your own productions, but I should flatten it. So because it is not flat, as you can see, it goes rather up. So I should create an area that is flat and maybe in different, like huge steps, areas that are flat, big enough for a production building and driving back and forth. So maybe even 2. So therefore I may be just importing a typical production building to get the size of it. Or do I have one? Yeah, I have this grain mill that I want to put over there, and this will be a selling station grain mill, and opposite to this that will be a production selling station grain mill. So, but I could just take this and then I have a good measurement. So okay, so now we can see how big it should be. Then I would say from here to there only one level, because yeah, those factories are quite big. So then I will work on a level here. Just push it up a little bit. And let's check how many meters is the difference. I need the terrain editing window. Yes, here it is. And I choose replace. Yes. And then I measure here. This is 36 meters, and here 38.8 meters. So it's only 2 or 3 meters difference. This is good. I think I will make it a little bit deeper here and higher there, and then I have to make slopes for evening out. Not evening. Leveling. Or smoothing. So I think I just take the measurement from the middle. Yes, it's about the middle, this 37. And then I make it bigger. They changed all this quite, not a little. Medium changes in the Giants editor, but I think most of them are good for us. I say most of them because you never know whether everything is better. So I'm just careful. Maybe everything is better. And I didn't have the time to check everything that is new. So now there are some new features that nearly nobody tested yet, and they are rather complex new features in our Giants editor. So I think I will have to move the tree. But that shouldn't be a problem. So, or maybe even a little bit further, because then I can smooth it out. And I want to keep this height here, and this will be smoothed like a slope. And here this will be smoothed also. Let's see. Yeah, that's already rather okay. And now I get the tree and pull it up a little bit. Like so, yes, and like so. Wonderful. Yeah, and then I have to think about what to do here. So we have a little bit leftover place, and it shouldn't be used by something high, because I want this wonderful windmill to sit over everything else. But first I make a slope here. So maybe squarish. And maybe even a little bit bigger, like so. That you can go from there to there without any problem. Oh, was this too much, maybe? No, maybe not. Okay. I think you can go from there to there. And now we make a steeper slope here with still square, yes, maybe, but much smaller. Here. And maybe I will make something like a fence here that you don't fall down, but you won't fall down. It's just do we still have this size? Yeah, so I make this more distinct. And then maybe the whole slopey area with meadow, that you can see the difference in the flat area and the slopey area. And here we slope it too, or smooth it. And here I make it even smaller and round. Maybe this is too small, I will see. So just a little bit of adjustment. And later we will have a border here, a defined border. So this is defined place somehow. And it will be empty, but maybe I make it a little bit overgrown because it's not used. And I think here is the entry area. So this should be very smooth here. And then I remove the grass here. This would be, here is the mesh painting that I don't need now, and this is the meadow and the subtract. So, and then I paint a little bit of gravel. Oh, this was changed just by moving the mouse button. So, yeah, smaller. Okay, and good. Animal mud I don't want, but maybe I look where the gravel is the right thing. Maybe more gravel dust. Oh yeah, there we have a wonderful improvement here with the texture layer painting. So this, and you know, gravel dust is not what we have here. Maybe it's pathway gravel. Yeah, I think this is it. But we have some wonderful improvements, I guess. So we had this limit to texture already. So I could say I want to paint a new texture only where we had grass before or so. And now we can limit to foliage as well. So I can make everywhere where I painted this foliage grass, I want a grass texture underneath. which is very good. And we have the opposite, so everywhere where we have the grass texture, so the color, we want to have the paint the foliage. Oh, and we can limit to foliage stage as well with the foliage painting. And here as well, so I can say everywhere where the foliage is small grass, I want to have a bigger grass now, or whatsoever, yellow flowers or so. This is awesome. And then they have this procedural placement painting, and this is the new function that nobody really knows about, but I think it's a little bit similar to the tools that I already use, the tools from Kevin K, which is an awesome programmer who made the Global Company mod. So yeah, and so now I make this little bit overgrown area out of it. And I hope I can spare farmland that you can buy this. I will see. I have forgotten how many farmlands I have left over. Maybe I can just see. No, I think I can't see, because they are all there. Maybe I can see. I try. So this is the farmland look. Yeah, right now this is a combined area. You can buy this whole area, and this part is belonging to this whole area. But if we have one free, I would make a small piece out of it that you can buy separately, just to have a dedicated place for your own factory. And you can have a lot of other places, so we have a lot of small fields that you could transform for your own productions, or to make your farm bigger, and so forth. But I think this would be a nice additional place to put your own productions or whatsoever you want to put there. Now let's see, farmland numbers. 63 is the border, yes. So it's always when it becomes white, this is the active number. Now we check for 62, so we go backward. Do we have 62? I have to go far away. So 62 seems to be free. This is good. Now the next one, 61. Nothing. 60. Yes, we have 60 here. So I check again for 61. Maybe I missed something. No. So we have 2 more farmlands available. I just use the 61 and make this. As we are already there. So now let's check. Maybe I should do it a little bit bigger. And start with a square, like so. So I have to fill in all the violet stuff. And then I think I go till here, where we already have the slope to the lower area. And then I think I should include this here. That this one doesn't get something like a panhandle or so. And maybe I should remove the water to have a look. Where is the water? I just make it invisible. Yes, very good. And now I keep on painting. Oh, and the last painting was not so good, so yes. So I try to follow this violet shape, more or less. Then maybe you think, oh, this will make this lot more expensive than if I would only make this place. That's true, but the land won't be very expensive. And with all the lots, you will have to pay somehow for the surroundings as well. And so the rather low prices will compensate for the need to buy some surroundings as well. And so there we go till this tree. So and if I have the feeling that this lot would be too expensive, then I could make it cheaper without changing the size. So I can determine what's the hectare price for each lot. So therefore I can say, okay, the forest lots are cheaper than the good fields, and areas that have a very strange shape that can't be really used, they are cheaper per hectare than the premium places, and so forth. So now this is done, and we try this factory again. Where is it? Grain mill. And we place it down here. Yeah. So this would be more a factory-like grain mill, and this is more a family-oriented grain mill. And I'm thinking on maybe turning it a little bit, but then I would have to move the trees and to move all the decorative objects with it. So I will see. Yeah. So now I will just put this grain mill over there. And then I will see whether we can place this grain mill and a BGA there. A small BGA, a very small BGA. Only to have one. Yeah, and maybe a BGA with with a fermenting silo and not with those huge bunker silos. Yeah, so if the BGA is really small, maybe I just try to import it. I will have a look whether I have this BGA from Erlengrad ready to import or whether I don't. If I don't find it very fast, then we do this a different time. And I don't want to make this a perfect BGA anyhow today. I just wanted to look whether it's, here we have BG Riverside Hills, that is something else, I think. This is the background, I guess. And I think but maybe it's not called BGA as a file name, I mean. But how could it be called else? Those are all the different objects that I got from the different maps from the base game maps. So we as modders may use the base game maps for object harvesting, and this I took from the base game too, but I changed it with different colors, and so I like it better like that. And yeah, and this is my own collection of those, what I really liked. And I already started to work on the horse ranch from FS19, but it's not finished, not at all. So I just go through everything. Maybe it has a different name. But if it's not there, I will prepare it sooner or later. It was just an idea to, so something like, oh, maybe you could just check it out. And I want to have, no, it's from Erlengrad, not from Elm Creek. So I think this is from Elm Creek, but the BGA that I want is from Erlengrad, a very small, tiny BGA. And that is the most I can bring me to building on one of my maps. Me personally, I rarely use those BGAs, and I think the buildings are too much, but I can understand that people love to build with this, and therefore I decided to bring a BGA here, and it's not there. So another time. Yeah, and if it doesn't fit, somehow I will make it fitting. Maybe I could make this field smaller and put the grain mill there or so. So now I may maybe make this a little bit run down. Only a little bit. Let's see, first with the texture color. And round, and then no pathway gravel, but maybe gravel moss is very nice. and I limit it to texture pathway 1. I think it's pathway that we have here. So pathway 1. Yeah. That's exactly what I wanted. So not everywhere, and then I make a little bit of maybe gravel grass. That is a little bit different. And then we could let some plants grow there. So make it a little bushy, and so somehow that this is the forgotten place. So next one would be gravel dirt on pathway 2. Okay, this is very subtle. Maybe that's good. I need some subtlety in this. And here maybe some slowly emerging into this area here. What do we have else? Gravel dust, maybe on pathway 3. Oh yeah. And I think pathway gravel was the one we had here. Maybe I just put it on pathway 4. Yeah, so that it bleeds into this a little bit. Yeah, and now I try to make some meadow. Yes, harvest ready, why not? Because it gets harvest ready anyhow, sooner or later. And I limit it to gravel grass. And so I can have a bigger brush. Can't I make it bigger? Yes, I can, but very slowly. Maybe it's good to have it slowly, then it's more precise. So, and it paints the grass only where we have the gravel grass ground texture. And yeah, in FS19 this wasn't possible. And so I'm quite happy about the new feature. This is not a totally new feature, but it's a new features from FS22. So now we make some bushes, and I try big ones, and I make a smaller brush. That I don't get too big clusters. Yeah, but this is going nicely. Okay. And then maybe I try medium size as well. That we have different sizes. Okay. And now I make some flowers, but not the nice ones, but rather the white tall wheat, green tall wheat, Cirsium. Is this the... Let's check what it is. Yes, yes, that's exactly what I wanted. The thistle somehow. So I make it even smaller. Because I think on such a place those thistles are very nice and suitable. And then later some nicer flowers as well, don't worry. And some of the normal small weeds. So maybe I could also put those on the gravel dirt. Gravel dirt. Yes, here. And then on the gravel moss I put some of those smaller weeds. So there will be less of those thistles later. I will remove some. Now I'm painting more and more and more. But I will remove some that I painted before. So, okay, now I make the small dense mix and put this on gravel, I think gravel moss, because this is greener. And I make this brush smaller. And now here you can see I remove some of those thistles. Because my idea was that those thistles, they grow very well even without green underground. They grow through the gravel. If it's a little bit of dirt, then they can grow there. But those greener things, they are not so good in managing to grow without any green ground. I think you can see perfectly that this is the perfect place for your production buildings. No, I really mean it, because on a lot of maps those places that are empty and that are dedicated for, hey, you player, put your building here, they are overgrown similar to this. And therefore I think if you drive by you can see at once, oh yes, this is one of those places. So maybe some tiny little flowers, or maybe white tallweed. I wonder what they call white tallweed. But maybe with a smaller diameter. Ah. Oh, this is this. Yeah, this is what I would call the white flowers. But yes, it is a kind of weed. Compared to grain or so. And then the green tall weed, I think this is one of those that are very, very common. Yes, yes, and yeah, and I heard you can even eat it, but it's not very delicious. And this is very common in Europe too. You find it everywhere somehow. And yeah, it doesn't have a lot of healing potentials. I think it's not without any healing use. Every plant has more or less healing capacities, but this is one of those where you think, oh no, I don't need this somehow. But I heard that some people like to eat it. I haven't eaten it yet. And there is a rather similar one that is not so whitish, but more brown reddish, and the leaves, oh, they are different. So it's a different plant, but it's as common as this. And how is it called in Latin? Oh, I forgot. Because that is as common as those, and you think, oh, it's not good for anything. This is very, very good for the pancreas and this. And it's a little bit a soft bitterness, and so it's also good for the liver, and you use it as a spice if you eat ducks. And Artemisia. Okay, I found out. It is indeed Artemisia, and it is Artemisia vulgaris. There are several kinds of Artemisia, and there's Artemisia annua, and I think this is very good for the hay fever, but the Artemisia vulgaris is a very traditional plant, and in English it's called mugwort. And as far as I know, it is very famous from the medieval times in Europe, but also from the Native Americans in America. They like to use it too, and it's a very holy plant somehow. But we don't have it to paint here, only its white brother that is not really a brother. So when I'm doing this here, sometimes, yeah, I wouldn't say I have so many time, but I have so much time to talk, and therefore sometimes I get, yeah, quite unusual topics. I try whether I can find the red poppy, because this violet poppy is nice, but I prefer the red poppy. So maybe I find a nice little place where I can put some red poppies. Yeah, and I have a rather huge website about healing herbs, and it was the biggest German healing herbs website for a long time. Maybe in the meantime there are others that are bigger, and it's called Heilkräuter.de, that means healingherbs.de, and there is a smaller English version as well, but much smaller. And yeah, I earned quite some money with it when the websites were earning good money, but this has changed already a long time ago. So with just normal nice websites oh, I didn't want it this yellow daisy, but more the normal daisy. But I keep this. And here I put this normal daisies. Everywhere where we find a little green spot. And it's like that in reality, so if you leave an area and it's not in the desert, then more and more plants are growing there, and they use every little square and here in Europe where I live, it's so, yeah, the growing is so strong that if you leave such an area for, let's say, 10 years, you already have trees and growing there, even if it was gravel before. And if you leave it for, let's say, 20 years, then it's a forest, more or less. A forest with rather tiny trees for sure, because big trees need some time to grow. But I think you get what I mean. So, this is the overgrown part that nobody takes care of and that you can buy to put your own buildings there. Yeah, and you ask for such places, and then I told you, oh, there are a lot of places where you could place your own production buildings, and they are still there, so you could enlarge your farm to here. This field is I made it so small that you can use it easily for enlarging the farm. And the same is with the other farms. They all have a rather small field. So this is a very tiny farm, and you can enlarge it in this direction and still have fields close by. And here is the same. This field is a little bit bigger, or you could use parts of this field and put this part together with this, so you would have a rectangle and a part for your buildings. And here you could use this for enlarging your farm, and yeah, the same here and there. So those are not so flat, those fields. So maybe to enlarge this small farm is a little bit more difficult. But there is a lot of place around. Maybe I should flatten just this area here. Let's see. As I'm already here, I could just take the measurements of the height. Yeah, I got it. And make it square and bigger. Ooh. Ah, I have it on subtract and not on replace. Okay. So then I just flatten this. And then this is just normal meadow. Okay, but you can, and I go up to here. You can use all this place to put your own buildings. You just have to put them down. And here, I think I have to smooth a little bit. And there. And so here you can't even see that this is a dedicated area for enlarging the farm. But if you are an experienced farm enlarger player, then you come here and see, oh, this is good, this is flat, I can build there. So I do this rather often. When I go there, I check whether it's flat enough to build there. Sometimes I think, oh, this is a nice flat area, I could build there, and then it has a tiny slope, and then it's quite expensive to make it flat enough. So maybe I should plant a tree here. Let's see, I take that one and make a copy. Oops. Oh, it didn't copy yet. So we just have to be a little bit patient, and then I can put it there, the copy. Okay. I only have to check whether this is too close to the road, maybe. I think yes. It's too big for this close to the road. Maybe it's better here. And then I make a smaller one here, that you don't have problems when driving here. Or maybe I just leave it. Oh, and this slope here, this should be grass all over and get a grass texture. That's what I wanted to do, but then forgot to do. So small, and I want to have the grass texture. Yes, and without any limit, and round. Where is the round one? So as I see this now, I think it won't have a border with border stones, because that wouldn't make any sense. foliage layer, meadow, and harvest ready, and without without limit. So yeah, I think this is better now. Then you can see that here you are above, maybe even higher. Okay, more grass texture here. Oh, and I have to deactivate the tree. Yeah, and then I have to think about what I want to do here. Maybe I just don't make everything gravel place-like. Maybe I just make a part of a meadow here and maybe a tiny road here. I will see. And here will be another production building. Yeah, and then by the one after the other, I will always have a look whether I like it like that, and maybe you'll say things like, oh, I would prefer to have it so and so forth, and if it fits to the area, then I can make it as you suggest. And to make this look like rather realistic area where small enterprises and productions are. This is the idea. This is an area for small rural productions. Okay, so I think that's it for this video. I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you for watching and all the best. Till next time. Tschüss.